Today's video is sponsored by the world's largest online learning community, Skillshare. Today I want to talk about a topic that I believe is not only very polarizing, but something that just needs to be discussed for us to really understand what's going on. And it's this topic of gear review videos. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they ruining photography? All these things. And I'm just going to cut straight to the point because it needs to be said. Real photographers are the ones who watch gear review videos. There is a huge disparity between the views on gear review videos versus those on cinematic videos, tutorial videos, and of course, any kind of training video. And it's something that a lot of people have talked about. I've asked other creators and I've seen creators mention this. Everyone asks for those last three things, but the views go to the gear reviews. And a lot of people are going to be thinking, well, that's the amateur, that's the beginner. Of course, they're looking to buy stuff. Absolutely not true. Because the most engagement that honestly comes, or the most frequent engagement from people repeatedly that comes on those videos, is engagement from people that say they're a real photographer and the gear review videos suck. They shouldn't be around. And the issue is, though, is that the one that continues to watch those videos are those real photographers. They will sit through it to comment on something on the 18th minute of a video. They will like or dislike and then share that video to Reddit, Threads, Instagram to talk negatively about that video. And 9 times out of 10, when it's a real photographer that hates gear review videos, guess what the other videos they've commented on are? Gear review videos. But when it comes to a tutorial video, learning how to do something, you have to like spoon feed that to these real photographers like Little Choo Choo Train or Airplane, any type of training video. In fact, I would have to use a video like this to disguise a video on lighting so that they could actually be interested enough to stay here. It'd be similar to me pivoting and saying, in today's video, I actually want to talk to you about how I came up with this lighting setup and how you can start to better your lighting setup on a budget for photo and video with a few key concepts. I'm going to give you a few resources and tell you how I started out so that you can learn and you can continue to grow in this as well. In today's video, you'll see that I have a couple of lighting sources in the back behind me. One of these is just a lamp. It's a Casa bulb from Amazon. I got it for about $6. And then I actually bought a large pack of these when I first started out, and this was my everything bulbs. And then I have an RT25 from SMALLRIG in the back, a little tube lamp, but it has great output and it's a long light source, so it's able to do things like that. That's pretty cool. Right here at a 45-degree angle to simulate some kind of Rembrandt lighting, I have a nice little RC60B. It's a cob light from SMALLRIG. SMALLRIG's not sponsoring me. They don't sponsor me at all. I just like their products. And so little lights like this, I think they're fantastic. As you can see, very bright 60-watt output. I enjoy them. And so I have that here. And the third key piece is actually a negative fill. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't talk about. But all this is doing is bringing more of a shadow to this side, a more dramatic looking effect. I call it a more textured look to your lighting. And this is something I got off of Amazon for about $7. You may not be able to purchase one of these RC60 cob lights right now, but I'm actually going to talk to you about some resources to learn lighting so you can understand it yourself, talk to you about some no-nos, and more importantly, show you the budget way that I started out, which cost me about $30 to begin, and everything I purchased off Amazon and was to my house in 2 days. But that's the way I would have to disguise it and talk about it, because again, real photographers don't need that stuff. You carry yourself thinking you know everything, and so at that point, why do you have to hear anything from anyone else? And again, I think it's a little hypocritical when people complain about gear review videos and saying it's all that's in my algorithm, because the algorithm doesn't put stuff in front of your face unless you watch it. If you have a whole bunch of videos in your Instagram Explore page of just feet, just a whole bunch of feet videos, you can't tell me that randomly it started getting pushed to you. That's not the way these things work. Even an accidental click, that's not going to push that over everything else you're actually watching. How long are you watching it for? And more importantly, are you engaging with it in any way? That's the way the algorithm works. If you're getting nothing but gear review videos, it's because you're engaging with it and watching those at length. But there's nothing inherently bad about gear review videos or gear acquisition syndrome. It's just a name of the game. And yes, they get more money, and sure, to some people they could be annoying, but you just have to make a constant choice to not watch it. Just don't click on it. It's that simple. So if you're enjoying being able to learn this little bit about lighting while we talk today about gear review videos, then you're going to enjoy today's sponsor, Skillshare, the world's largest online learning community with tons of different classes for you to be able to grow from photography, videography, graphic design, cooking, and everything in between. Skillshare is a place that is designed to be able to help you go to the next level on anything you want to go to, or just pick up new hobbies, traits, and even just better yourself just because you're into self-improvement. Skillshare is something that I highly recommend. And right now with their back to school theme, they're throwing out all the bells and whistles, including new classes, and you're now able to search for these classes by material and software type. You can join Skillshare and start your learning journey by going to this link right here, which is also down below in the description of the comments,
for the first 500 people to use the link below.
I myself am a huge proponent of understanding lighting, which is why I've chosen to begin watching the Cinematography Basics class. This is an introduction to lighting techniques by Zach Mulligan. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and I hope you guys join so you continue to grow yourself and take advantage of this opportunity. A lot of times insecurity and greed are the reason why people complain about those things. And it's the reason why people don't have a problem with tutorial videos. Because if tutorial videos were getting a whole bunch more views and that's what was getting people paid, I guarantee you there would be a professional, real photographer or videographer down in the comments saying why everything they think is wrong because the way that they learned it is the only way to do it correct. You can prove me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. But again, you have to like spoon feed this stuff to these people and trick them into thinking like, open your mouth for the airplane, in order for them to have any of this knowledge or want to receive this knowledge, or more importantly, watch these videos. Again, I'd have to trick them by pivoting, some tricky way like, actually, if you don't want to buy these RC60Bs, I feel like these are a great investment though. I'm going to show you some footage that I've used these on recently, some behind the scenes footage as well. You'll see that there's a softbox there. There's a few softboxes from SMALLRIG that fit these. They have a proprietary mount. I'll put it up right here. But if you don't want to have some of these, I mentioned earlier that I actually started off by using these Casa bulbs from Amazon. They have an app on your phone where you can control color. They're completely RGB. As well as intensity, and that's what I use for the most part. They have really good output. Again, the colors are nice, and I bought about 5 of those, and I was just putting them around random parts of my house, and more importantly, as my key light and always a kicker light. So a lot of people employ 3-point lighting. There's a kicker, a hair light, there's a nice key light, and for some people, there's other lighting, whether it's practical lighting or if it's a fill light, or in my case right now, something that's a negative fill. 3-point lighting, 3 points of light modification or light sourcing. So I bought those Casa bulbs, and then I bought the cheapest light stands that I could on Amazon. And at the time, I actually was able to get some that were returned for about $11. I spent maybe $24 on 4 bulbs. Maybe actually it was a pack of 5 bulbs. And then from there, I just bought these really long socket extensions from Amazon. Again, I'm sure I'm putting all this stuff up here from my old purchases. Really long socket extensions that kind of made them go out about 3 or 4 inches, and I put that wedged in between Bowens mounts that I purchased. They were like $15 Bowens mounts, and I specifically remember this because I purchased them used on Amazon. Again, they're returned, and I purchased this kind of square softbox from Godox that it was able to wrap around. It didn't click in or anything like that. It was square. It was a large source. It was heavy, and these stands were basically falling over, but that's the way I did my lighting. I was able to do multicolor, I was able to do warm, I was able to do daylight. That's what I used to start out. And the lighting again was always 3-point. I always made sure I had a 45-degree at an angle like this key light. I have glasses, so trying to get a higher level whenever it comes to light helps get away from the glare that you would see. And again, Rembrandt lighting, you can look up Rembrandt, I'll put the name right here. And you can see the lighting. He was a painter, fantastic, don't know much else about him. And then I'd always worked with background lighting and everything because I was grown up and taught that to make a photo or video really compelling, you have to light the space. It's not about lighting the face. The face can have shadow, the face can be a little bit dimmer, but if the space is lit up and the space, whether or not it's in focus or not, can have a lot of action whenever it comes to luminance.
Hey there, Editor D, and I actually wanted to take a moment to expand on this and talk about exactly what I mean whenever it comes to action and luminance. Whenever it comes to lighting spaces and not faces, it's not enough to just have lighting on everything around you. It'll make everything seem pretty bland and pretty flat, especially whenever it comes to just having a simple wash of a certain color temperature across your scene. What I mean by action whenever it comes to luminance is there's different luminance values for every single different type of color, color temperature, light temperature, things like that. And the action comes in not only how you're playing with shadows, but also how you're mixing light. If you look in the scene that we have that I'm actually using to record this video, you'll see that for me, I'm a little bit more what some would consider a natural looking color because I balance my camera to daylight and I balance my light to match the exact same color temperature that my camera is at. Makes a lot of sense. Everyone does this. It's the same thing that you're seeing with this. This color temperature is matched to what is going on in my home. But if you look in the background, it's a lot warmer. I'm mixing this light. Now, mixing light on a subject, like if I had this window right here and it was on me and super bright, but then I had a warm light coming in from this side, it would probably make it pretty ugly. And I think we've seen examples of that. But when you're mixing light and you're able to separate the subject or the foreground from the background, there's two different tones between the two. That's what creates action and the luminance, or the, just the lighting in your frame. It separates me, but it also is uniform in the back. So it looks intentional because it is intentional, and it gives your eye something to play with. You get a warm, cozy feeling from this video, even though I was shooting myself or recording myself directly stationed in that kind of cooler light. This is where things as well as light modification comes in. Me using a grid at a 45-degree angle came in handy right there, to where light didn't have a spill. And this is where something like a negative fill, and I'm actually going to speak over a part that I had in the video, but I feel like I rambled too long. This is where negative fill comes in handy. Negative fill is such a great thing to use because of the fact that when you have a negative fill coming in, bringing this shadow to the face like this, it's a bad example because my hand still bounces light. It creates that dramatic effect, but also it can help do what it did for me, which was cut off the daylight that was coming in and kind of help separate. I use that negative fill, the black board that I had, to keep light from bouncing onto my background, so I didn't mix light there, and to keep any of the extra warm light from bouncing off more than just my shoulder. If you look in the video, you'll see over your left shoulder, my right shoulder, the left shoulder in your view, there is some nice warm light hitting me, and it accents well enough because it's not oversaturated and it's not wrapping around my face. I hope that made sense. I wanted to jump in and talk about that from an editor standpoint, because I feel like whenever it comes to talking about lighting, we know 3-point lighting, we know background, hair light, kicker, whatever you want to call it, we know key light, and we know a fill light to bring, lift up shadows and stuff like that. But negative fill, luminance values, mixing color and stuff like that, that's something that we don't talk about a lot, but that's what takes your images from looking like, plain corporate to something a little bit more dramatic, but more importantly, something a little bit more nuanced. And it really draws people in from a visual
in order
standpoint.
to get a real professional to be able to want to watch one of those videos. I would have to sneak it in like that and pivot in there randomly. And whether or not it seems harsh, cut in, or, well done, that's the kind of lengths you have to jump into. Again, because something like this, a video that's controversial, is going to always do better than a video that says key tips for lighting, 3-point lighting system. It's never going to do well. You see, a lot of times whenever I see someone claim they're a real photographer, or they have to bash someone else about their photography or what they do or what they call themselves, they're usually the people that, whether or not they believe that gas is good or bad, they kind of do fall into the gearhead realm. They just try to pivot themselves with certain opinions to where you don't know. But they're the people that are watching these gear reviews for the simple fact of they want to make sure they have all the gear before anyone else that can do the job for them. But that's for a lot of people. And again, they won't listen to anything else because they know what they know and they're stuck in their ways. And it's so tough because they're the biggest hypocrites, because they're the ones watching all those review videos, camera review videos, film stock review videos, all these things. And they say, I want tutorials, I want to learn, we need to start teaching people. And then when we teach people, you don't come and want to learn. You don't watch the video. Again, it's hypocrisy. I have to, fake and feign and pretend like the next thing I'm going to do is bring up a book that has stuff about technology in it, when really it's pro digital portrait lighting. It's a book that I've relied on for a lot of situations. And what it has is it shows you different lighting setups and the effects from it. This right here is from sandwich lighting, 45 here, 45 there. It talks about diffusion sources, hard sourcing, book lighting, everything like this. This is a great resource. Again, this is Pro Digital Portrait Lighting by Peter Hintz. This is great to be able to use and reference. And a lot of times when I'm meeting with people, whether it is clients for video or for photo, I'm going through this and I'm actually showing them, hey, give me an idea of what looks more in tune or in line with what you're looking for. Let's talk about the tone of the video, because lighting is a big part. And I talk to them about the importance of that for budget purposes so they can understand where I'm spending their money, but more importantly, so I can make sure that they're getting something they want and not something that they, maybe don't. Or if you're having trouble with something like off-camera lighting and flash, something like this, which is the book Flash, the Most Available Light, and it's by Quest C. Couch. I hope you could hear that. Did you pick that up? This is another book that I got, and it seems very technical. It has a whole bunch of things that I'm sure are boring to a lot of people, but this is an amazing tool. It shows you so many tricks with using Flash, whether it's a tiny flash or a big flash, multiple flash setup. It talks about negative fill. It talks about overhead lighting. It talks about clamshell lighting as well with Flash. Things that I think are beneficial for everyone to know. That's what we should be spending time at, and that's where we should be watching it, but it doesn't do well in the algorithm because the professionals don't watch it. That's how I would have to put it in there for someone to actually want to view this stuff. I would have to sandwich it in a video that is either very, very controversial or a video that is, you know, another gear review video. Yeah. Listen, you guys, no one really enjoys doing gear review videos all the time. They're tough, it's fun to use it, but man, we would rather be making something else. Let me tell you that. And I'll leave links down below for the SMALLRIG stuff. It's not an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm literally just trying to help some people. Yeah, and that's basically all it is. Like gear review videos, you know, people want to watch those. You have to, like I said, spoon feed any kind of real content that has to do with any kind of training, any kind of learning, these real photographers, because they don't want to see it, because they already know everything. And more importantly, you know, if they have to sit through and watch that, they won't have time to watch more gear review videos to bitch about. With all that being said, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And yeah, let me know what you think. Take it light, but take it. Go Dodgers. I hope that ages well, and have a good one.